on this computer.
Okay, got it. Okay. And this time you can share your screen and I'm going to walk you through it.
Okay.
And we're going to do color conversions in Photoshop.
Mhm.
So at some point you'll want to launch Photoshop.
Okay, it's launched. So do you want me to just dump it into Photoshop?
Yes.
Okay, I have to share.
Okay. I'm seeing your Photoshop and I'm seeing the image open. And um, we need to go to color settings, go to, I think it's in the edit menu. I'm not seeing your menus up in Photoshop.
They, you know, for some reason, let's see, my menus show up outside the window.
Okay, okay, as long as they're there.
Oh, you'll see them when I open them up. So where do you want me to go?
I want you to go to color settings down at the bottom. I'm seeing them now. I'm seeing your pull down menu now. Go to
Okay,
color
color
settings.
settings.
Okay, and you have it correctly set for North America Prepress 2
Oh, that's right. We did this.
settings. Yeah, so everything is set correctly. You also want to have that same setting in all your Adobe apps in InDesign, Illustrator, and um, if you open Bridge and do your color settings in Bridge, it will apply to all of your Adobe apps.
Oh,
But
awesome.
but you could also go through each one individually
Mm-hmm.
and set the color settings to North America Prepress 2.
Okay.
So that's correct. You can just cancel out of that. And back to the image. As you can see, it's in RGB and it's 16-bit. And we really don't need 16-bit. That's kind of overkill. Uh, so what you want to do is you want to go up to, um, let's see, color mode. I think it's in color mode.
Image
Yeah,
mode.
mode. Yeah, and then go to 8 bits per channel
Okay.
instead of 16 bits because you don't really need the 16 bits.
Where
Uh,
did you read that on my screen that you saw that?
uh,
Or did you just know that?
I just know that.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the pull down when once you pulled it down.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
it's
I didn't see where it was in the open image where it said 16 bits, but it
yeah.
doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't say there.
uh, I saw the 16 bits in the file name. You know,
Oh,
it has parentheses after the file name,
mm-hmm.
and that told me. See, right now it's saying RGB 8. You see that in the file name?
Oh, yeah. It said 16 previously.
Yeah, and it said 16 previously. And what I do with those 16-bit, we rarely ever get 16-bit images. And I just convert them to 8-bit,
Okay.
like all the others.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's still in RGB. So we want to convert it to CMYK using that North America Prepress 2 profile. So what you want to do is you want to go up to, I think it's edit, convert to profile. Yeah, that's it. Down at the bottom, near the bottom, convert to profile.
So
So
hit it.
yeah, select that. And that's going to show you your destination space, which is US web coded version 2. That is part of the North America Prepress 2 settings. So that is the correct, I know that that's the correct CMYK profile. And you just click OK.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Okay.
And that's it. And then you save the file.
All right. I was wondering, I have a question before I close out. What would happen if you just went to image, convert, image mode, CMYK?
You
Once
could,
you had those color settings loaded.
I'm afraid that it won't convert it to the profile
Okay.
that we've set up.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, you can do it that way. And I think that I used to do it that way years ago until the printer gave me that profile. So you could do it either way, but I like to do convert to profile because
Okay.
that ensures that I am converting it to the same profile that I know that Cody is using on those color corrected images, that they're all the same profile. Uh,
Gotcha.
it probably wouldn't be a problem. I don't think that it would be a problem if you just did it that way. Um, but and you can certainly do it that way. But
No, I'll do it your way. I just was wondering.
I haven't done a test to see the difference. Uh, I just do it the way the printer told me to do it.
Okay. Do you want to try a test this time just for fun?
Yeah, you could open it and do a save as and
Okay. Oh, but these are our files though.
yeah, these are our files. You would have to get another copy from the RG copy from the Dropbox.
Okay, maybe the next one or something. Do you want me to do the one that just came in or do you want to do it?
You can do that one. There are two new feature uh, articles that have come in. One is backstory, and the other is Cayenne Comparo.
Mhm.
And you can do both of those if you want to.
Okay, after I will,
Yeah.
but when do you want to send them to the printer? Tonight or tomorrow?
Well,
I mean,
no,
Monday.
Monday,
Okay, cool.
because they haven't sent me back what they're working on. I sent them three yesterday, the cover and I think three features. And so I haven't gotten those back yet, so they're still working. So it could wait until Monday.
Okay. So I'll do those two.
But that's how you convert to CMYK for the departments and the files that we convert ourselves.
Okay, now. So what do I do with that? Do I name it something?
No, you just keep that in this to Richard CMYK file,
Uh-huh.
and uh, when um, when we get the final Z file on editor's note or any of the departments, what you're going to do is you're going to replace the RGB with this CMYK that you have converted at that time. So you're going to
When
have,
we okay.
So you're going to have all of the departments already converted to CMYK and stored in the Richard CMYK folder. And then when at the end of production, when we get the final Z files, that's when you're going to replace the RGB with these CMYKs. Does that make sense?
So as soon as the departments come back in a Z file format, you put the new color in.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah.
But you don't do that with the CMYKs from the printer.
Yes, you also do the same thing. When we get down to the end of pre-production, about a couple of days before we have that insight deadline, Richard starts putting final Z files in my 2Allen final OKs folder. And when we get those final Z files, we have to replace the color, both on the features and on the departments, and at that time. And there are two things that we have to do. We have to replace the color,
Mhm.
and we also have to add the advertising files at that time. So yes, we do both. We're going to replace color on both the features and the departments when those final Z files come to us.
And then you also have to put the correct page number on it.
Well, the correct page number should be on it because editorial will have an approved dummy
Okay.
at that time, and the dummy will tell them what the start number is, the start
That's
page
right.
number is,
You told me that. Okay.
and so they will put that on their file on the editorial. As it goes through editorial, they will put that correct folio number. I think it's usually Richard who does that. He will put the correct folio, but we still need to check it when we get, because they could forget to do it, or they could uh, we could have a change in the dummy, move pages around. So we still want to check those folios when we get that final file. But they're supposed to do that. Editorial is supposed to change those, not
But
us.
the actual Z layouts, the page numbers on those, when do we change when do we change the names of those files?
After we get the Z file, we're going to do a save as, and we are going to save it with the page range in the title, the month, the year, and the page range.
But
Once,
you do that very last.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do a save as on that so that I keep the original Z file without any corrections to it at all, so that I can always go back to that if I need to.
Mhm.
But I'll do a save as, and then I'll save it with the page range because we've got to have everything in numerical order when we start making the PDFs for Insight. We need to have everything in numerical order, or it would just be chaos. If all we had was the original article name in the uh, file name, that wouldn't really help us in
Mhm.
organizing. We need
So
to
we
see.
just put the month, 3-digit page number.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it would be something like page 5 to page 9 with a hyphen. And it's just a page range. That way, when you have to go back to that back issue in the future, you're going to want to navigate according to page ranges.
Mhm.
The name of the article won't mean anything to you at that point. You're looking for, page numbers. You're looking for a range of page numbers when you're trying to pick up ads. ILCO is going to tell you the pickup location by page number. So if you just had the file name, the article name and the file name, that wouldn't help you.
Mhm.
You've got to see a series of page ranges. And so that's the reason why I changed that.
Okay.
And then the file names change yet again when we make individual PDFs for Insight, because they have their own required nomenclature for Insight. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of changing file names, and that's why I keep everything organized in separate folders, because at each stage they have a different file name, and that's why I have those folders. It's just to keep everything organized.
Gotcha.
Well, is there something else that you want me to cover that maybe we haven't, or that we need to go over again?
Well, you wanted to talk to me about cover art.
Okay. Let's see.
That's why you wanted another training session, because you wanted to talk about
Oh
converting to
yeah.
color.
Okay. Okay. Uh, you'll need to get out of your sharing the screen.
Mhm.
I'll share mine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to show you my
Okay.
my dummy that I've started too.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know.
You could close out the file.
Stop share. Okay, stop share.
Okay. So you're not going to show me the dummy?
Oh, you want to see it now
Yeah.
before you go the color? Okay,
Yeah.
hang on. And this was not, I didn't look at your video before I did it. I just did it
Okay.
based on what I thought would do. Okay, so here's what I have.
Okay.
July, and you said to keep it at 152 pages, so I kept it there. And wait a minute. Let me see. Window pages. Okay. So here's changing of the guard.
Okay. That's the first sheet.
Yeah, and that's 9 pages.
Hmm.
Then Fastmaster.
Hmm.
I put an ad there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Hmm.
And then Fastmaster, which is 10.
Hmm.
Then I filled in speed lines with M. Jordan and put
Okay.
the date, July. So we knew
Okay.
it was the July one.
Well, Michael Jordan is actually the writer, the author who does that regular column, but he's not the artist. He's not the
Oh,
artist.
okay. I thought I
His
did
name
have that in originally. Gallagher, is that the name?
Gallagher. Gallagher. Yeah.
I don't know how to spell his name, but I
The
think
first H, you can take the first H out
yeah.
and it'll be perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I had him in first, and then I thought, wait, he's not the
Yeah.
author.
Yeah. Michael Jordan is the writer, and he he writes that column every month, but it
Okay.
showcases a different artist, and I like to put the artist name in there so that because it changes from month to month, uh, whereas Michael Jordan, he's going to write it each month. Uh,
Okay. So this is the first page. We don't
yeah,
really have anything for up here yet.
now
I put an XX for the date,
great. Okay.
and then I did the same thing, change the date,
Mhm.
XX. And then I have that new fee temper
Yeah, yeah.
feature, 2, 4, 6, 7 with an ad.
Hmm.
And then there's nothing yet. I don't have these filled in yet.
Okay. Okay.
And then I counted the pages. The Mart was the same. Is it always the same?
Uh, we don't um, we don't know how long the Mart is going to be yet. Uh,
Oh,
we we did get the Mart. We did get it, and but the length could change because uh, we don't have the ad list yet.
oh, gotcha.
So we don't know how many placeholder ads we're going to have to put in the Mart yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, each month it's about the same size. It might be a page or more. Uh, it varies from month to month. But
Mm-hmm.
for right now, we're not even going to worry about that
Okay.
because
So
we don't.
is this kind of what you do
Yeah,
during?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And I try to do this gradually as we get new articles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, backstory is always 2 pages, so that's not going to change. But we did get a new feature on the Cayenne Camparo, and you can work over that this weekend or on Monday. And um, that we would add um, to the dummy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
And
so far so good.
it's so far so good. It's you know you're understanding how it comes together. I don't know if we're going to have all of these um, purple ad spreads. We've got 3, and I won't know until we get the ad list. I think it's supposed to be due to us on Monday. Uh,
Mm-hmm. It
uh,
is.
okay, but we'll find out then how many ad spreads we have. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we usually only have 1. So that month, last month, we had 3. That was a lot. So we'll probably take some of those ad spreads out and move the pages around, move them up. Um, and so I'm just saying for right now, that's fine, but we'll probably remove some of those ad spreads.
Okay.
And we'll also have to put the financials in,
Oh.
and we don't have that in yet. And as far as I know, it's going to be 5 pages with a full page ad at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always work that in. You can put that in 5 pages.
Oh, 5 pages for financials.
Yeah.
No, you don't know where it goes.
Well, it's going to go between Tech Q&A and the Mart. Uh,
No. Mm. What color page do I put it on?
uh, that one I would put in the blue, the pale blue, because
Okay.
it's not a feature. It's more like a department.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm looking in my back issues here. I wanted to make sure that I told you the right location. for okay. The financial statement goes after Tech Q&A and before the Mart.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that I was correct. You would think I would know after all these years, but so
Oh,
that's where it goes. And it's going to be 5 pages, probably. I haven't actually seen it. Uh, but Richard has it on the edit lineup as 5 pages.
mm-hmm.
So that would be 5 pages with a full page ad at the end of it. And you can always add that, whenever you want to.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over the setting up the cover.
Okay. So you can share now.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see my InDesign
I
background?
do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, the first thing that you would do is you would go to Dropbox, to Allen, and then go to the July folder. And you'll see a folder for the cover. And you would copy the links into the RGB, July RGB folder. And see, I already have it there. I just copied the links over here and then I renamed it cover. And while we're looking at this, you can see how I have labeled these folders so far. I have a system where I put a green label when I send the files up to Kodi. And then I have a purple label when I get the files back from Kodi. So if you look in this RGB folder, you can see that I have 2 articles, Backstory and Cayenne Comparo, that I haven't even sent up yet. I haven't done anything with those 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 3 that I have sent up to Kodi, but I haven't gotten them back. And then I've got 2 guard and speed lines that we've already gotten images back from them. So this little color coding system is how I keep track of, where the files are um, on that. And yours should look something like that. You should label yours for practice,
Mm-hmm.
just like that. But with the cover, I start by copying the links over and then renaming it cover. And it's just going to have, well, let me just do one for practice here. Okay, links. I moved it over. I'm going to rename it. Covers, and I'm going to call this one practice to make it different than from the one I've already done. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's going to look like this. It's going to have the logo for the front cover, and it's going to have the image for the front cover. And because this was the links folder, it doesn't have the InDesign folder in it.
Hmm.
So I need to move that, copy that, not move it, copy that over so that I can have my own copy to work on. Okay, I'm going to close this out because I don't need it anymore. So we've got the cover logo, the cover InDesign file, and the cover image file. And what I'll do is I'm going to, I don't need that logo. We're not going to send the logo to Cody. We're only going to send the image. We don't need to send logos or maps or charts, illustrations. Usually, we don't
Right.
need we don't need to send those to the color corrector because they've already been created with flat colors in Illustrator. So there's no reason for them to have those. So I'm going to move that logo to Richard CMYK's.
Okay.
And see there, I've already moved it. I have it in there. So I'm just going to delete that. See, but I moved it over here to Richard CMYK's. And the cover is a little different. I'm going to move the cover file to Final OKs with ads. See, I've already moved it over here. And that's because that cover file is actually the final file. We don't get the cover is the only article that we don't get a final Z file on. So that makes it different than all the departments and all the features. When Richard sends me the cover file, it's done. There's not going to be anything else done to it unless he does a revised cover, which is very rare that he would do that. So I move that into the final OKs, but I'm going to delete it right here for practice. So what I want to do is I want to send a reference PDF to Cody, and I'm going to send that original RGB file with it. And so I'm going to open the cover file. There it is. I'm going to open it, and you'll get a message saying there are a lot of links, but those are all on the pasteboard or they're hidden. So once you open the file, it won't matter. It says you're missing links, but I'll show you. Once you open the file, it won't matter because down below here, it says no errors. It gives you a green dot on the pre-flight and says no errors. And that's because those missing files were off here on the pasteboard. And if I go in here to links, it's showing all of those missing files, but they're all on the pasteboard. So that doesn't matter if they're on the pasteboard and they're missing. It looks like Richard tried a number of different color situations with the logo. He has several different versions of the logo. Some are black, some are white, some have the logo at the end of the vertical bar, some are at the top of the vertical bar, and we have a cover design that he did where the logo moves around on the cover. You know, some magazines have a static logo that always appears in one place, but he has designed it so that he can move that logo around, uh, to fit whatever uh, space on the image that it looks best.
Mm-hmm.
And he also has another link up here called golden proportion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's missing, but it's on a hidden layer. If you look here, it says hidden layer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because it's on a hidden layer, it doesn't matter uh, that I don't have it.
Mm.
Uh, so everything really is accounted for. You have the image here, and then you have the cover logo here, and that's all that's on that page. And then we have a special label just for the cover. And that's because the cover is handled differently than the feature images. Uh, with the cover, uh, we're going to get a composite that contains both the image and the logo. And so what I do is I send them, I just want to get the image converted to CMYK first, and it looks like that. And I have this special label in the library called Cody Cover Blurb. And when I drag that out, this is what it looks like.
Okay. You know what? My little in my library, they're not labeled. How do you see the labels in the
Oh,
hamburger menu?
yeah, you go to this little three dots,
Yeah,
vertical
we
three
call that
dots.
the hamburger at school because it's 3 lines.
Okay, the little three lines.
The hamburger. Yeah.
And I think, hmm, I think it's in there somewhere.
Sorted our items by name. There you go.
Okay.
Because I don't see any names on my labels, so I need to
Yeah.
change it because that's helpful. Because I
Yes.
was looking through them all and going, which ones do I use?
Okay. So if you look at mine on the screen, you'll see that I have labels underneath.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you do it. Uh, you go to those three vertical lines, uh, maybe item information. No, that's how you create them. But
I wonder if it's under view.
let's see. I have it on thumbnail view. Okay, sort items by name. I think that's the way it has to be.
Let's see it by type just to contrast to see if that's what that's how I have it.
Okay.
Do you want to click it? Just
Uh,
go by type just to see if that's why.
okay. Okay. Yeah, let me try that. Okay, sort items by type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, I'm
No,
still
because you still have the names.
I'm still getting the labels.
That's good.
Uh, by name. Hmm.
You know, maybe they do show up. I just didn't notice them. That's a possibility, but it seems weird. I wouldn't notice them.
Yeah. Hmm. Now I have them in something called thumbnail view.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That's in list view, and that's in large, but They've all got labels on them.
Okay, so I maybe just didn't notice it. I don't know. It's helpful to have the names.
Yeah. Uh, maybe there's something in the preferences, but I don't think so.
I think you're in the right place to change it and the
Yeah.
options for the panel. So I don't know. I'll look
Well,
and see. Maybe I
it,
just didn't notice it. It's a
uh,
possibility.
it is helpful to have those labels on there.
It
Okay.
is.
But anyway, you drag out this uh, cover blurb and then change this information here.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it says, uh, we don't pull a paper proof at this time. When I receive the corrected CMYK back to me, uh, what I do is I send them a composite PDF with the image and logo, and they pull a paper proof from that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's because I don't send them the InDesign file. Um, I just send them the image and I send them the um, reference PDF. This thing here that I'm going to make a reference PDF. So once they send me that CMYK back, uh, then I will make a PDF. And for this PDF, you don't want to send a low res version of it. When you want to send the same version that you're going to use for Insight to make the paper proof on this. Now, the feature leads that you marked up, on the first spread with that label that says, you know, this image needs a paper proof to go to Richard Barron. Uh, those lead feature spreads don't have to have type on them. They don't have to have copy or headlines. They don't have to have type on them. They're just going to make a paper proof of the image only to
Mm-hmm.
send to Richard. But for the cover, we need to see the logo on there. That makes it different. The cover is different than the features in that regard. So the way we do that, when I get the corrected CMYK back from Cody, I'm going to replace it. I'm going to uh, click on the RGB, look in links, and uh, this is the original RGB that we're looking at here, and it says so down here. I have my thumbnails. I have my links panel set up so that it shows the thumbnail. I like to see thumbnails in my links panel, and I have all of this other information, which is all you can set up in the panels setting or links. And down here, it shows me that this is RGB. This is the original RGB. And when I get the one from Cody back, I'll just click on the link, the link symbol, which also is the relink symbol.
Mm-hmm.
You can relink an image that way. So I will click that, and then I will go to July, and then I'll go to CMYKs, and my cover folder will be in this. My cover folder with the corrected CMYK will be in this folder, and then I'll find it and I'll click open. And what that will do is um, it will replace the RGB with the CMYK, and it will um, crop it the same way. It will keep it in the same position when we replace these images. As
Mhm.
long as we do it that way, going through the relink button, it will keep that file positioned exactly the same.
Yes.
And so that's why we do that. And then once I get the CMYK in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this label off. I'm going to set it over to the side because we're going to create the PDF that's going to go on Insight, but it's also going to be used to pull a paper proof at Cody. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But you're not doing it in the same sequence that you're doing the rest of the pages in.
Right, right. It's a little different.
Okay.
That's why I'm going over it, because it's a little different. Let me go to high quality display. And so now we want to make we
Oh, that
want to
looks good.
we want to make a PDF to send to Cody to make the paper proof, but it's also going to be the PDF that's going to go up on Insight. So we want to come up here to our PDF presets, and we want to go to the preset for LSC Cody, which is DSC export. And we're going to rename it because we can't keep the same name. We have to use the nomenclature that Insight requires. So we're going to call it Porsche, all caps, I think. Let me see let me make sure. I can't even remember.
I don't blame you.
No, it isn't. It isn't all caps.
I didn't think it was. Remember.
It's caps and lowercase.
Okay.
Okay. I couldn't, I can't remember.
You got too many things to remember.
I know. I know. Let's do that over. Let's go to Porsche. Okay. And then July, and then 23. And there's no space bar, there's no underline bar, uh, there's no hyphen. It all runs together just like that. Porsche, July 23, and then you do an underline where you're going to put the cover, which is I think they do theirs different than the printer we had at
And fry.
yeah, Fry. So I better check. Like, okay, okay. I'm gonna go all the way down to see exactly how we did it last month. Okay, they're the covers. Covers are called C1, C2, C3, C4.
Okay.
At Fry, they used a different nomenclature, but I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. Okay, so it's going to be C1, and that's all. That's all you have to name it, and then you're going to go save, and you make sure that you've got the right preset, and we do. And but I don't want. I only want the first file. This is page 1. This file also has the spine on it on a different page. So I only want the front cover. So I'm going to put page 1 on there. If you collect all, it's going to make a PDF with both your front cover and your spine on a separate page. And that's not what we want. And so we hit export, and it's building it. And it's showing up on my desktop over here. And did you have a question?
No, I can see your desktop, which is surprising.
Yeah, I have a little sliver of my desktop showing. And
Hmm.
that's so that as I build files from InDesign, I can see them building over here on the desktop.
Well, Zoom
Because,
usually zeroes in on your app. So I'm
yeah,
just surprised that it included your desktop.
yeah, I'm showing the entire desktop.
Okay.
And so there it is, and I can check it. And
Looks good.
except this is not the CMYK file. This is just the RGB because I haven't gotten
Oh,
the
yeah.
I haven't gotten the CMYK back. But
Okay.
this is what it would look like after
Hmm.
you change the CMYK, and it's going to have crop marks, bleed marks. It's going to contain the bleed, and it's going to have these registration marks on it. That's the way it's supposed to look.
Right.
And so this I'm going to send to Cody on that FTP site. And then I will send an email to Rochelle and Jason, letting them know that I've placed the cover PDF that they can use to pull the paper proof from. I let
Okay.
them I let them
You
know that.
you call them or you send them an email?
I send them an email.
Okay.
I send them an email to let them know that it's on the FTP. And so the cover is handled a little differently than the feature lead spreads. On those features, you put a label saying this one needs a paper proof for Richard Barrett. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything else for paper proofs on
Hmm.
those features. But the cover is a little different because this way, the cover is going to go to Richard and to Rob. Rob does not get the feature leads. He does not get paper proofs on the feature leads. He only gets the front cover. So they're going to pull a paper proof, and it's going to be composite. It's going to have the logo and the image just exactly the way it's going to appear on Insight. And a copy will go to Richard and a copy will go to Rob. And that's the way it looks. And
Now,
then,
when do you do this? I mean, and
well,
this is before all the other pages go.
yes, yes. As soon as they send me that CMYK back, which will probably be on Monday, I'm guessing, uh, and I'll get you involved. You'll be involved in that when we actually do it.
Okay.
But as soon as I get the CMYK back, that's when I send this PDF so that they can get the covers out quickly. Uh, because Rob is going to parade. So we want to get it out next week as soon as we get the corrected CMYK back.
Hmm.
And and we put it on the FTP, and they'll get it from there, and they'll combine it with all of the paper proofs that they have from the features, from the lead images on the feature. They'll take care of coordinating all of that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So and once you've sent this PDF, uh, you're going to put it in the Insights folder, the Insight folder, and like this. This is your hierarchy of folders,
Hmm.
and there's one that says Insight.
Okay.
So for the moment, we're going to store it in the Insight. This is the one that we just created. Um, we're going to store that in Insight. We're not going to put it up on Insight yet because they probably don't have a folder for July up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to put it up on Insight until we start getting final Z files. And so we're just storing it for the meantime in Insight because we want to make sure that the file that was used to create the paper proof is the same file that shows up on Insight because that's what's going to print. We want to make sure that that is exactly the same file. So we keep it for right now, and we'll put it up on Insight when we start going up on Insight, when we have all of the final Z files and we start making PDFs for those. We're also going to put this one, the cover, up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, where is it stored before it goes in here?
I just have it on my desktop.
Okay.
Yeah, I created it from InDesign so that it would show up on my desktop. Uh,
Yes, so you are making this a little bit ahead of the curve because it's probably the most important page of the whole book.
yeah,
So you're making that, you do a double proofing system. I mean, you get the color and then you make the I don't know how else to call it, the final
mhm,
PDF.
yeah,
And you name it correctly and you just put it in the folder ready to go.
yeah, yeah. It's
But
just
we
going
do the
to,
color prematurely so that you can see it because it's the
well,
most important page.
it takes time to pull the paper proofs
Mm-hmm.
and to ship them out
Mm-hmm.
to Richard and to Rob. Uh, and they need to have those to look at uh, before we get to the final Z file stage. They're going to have these ahead of time. And so we need to create them ahead of time and get
Right.
that out of the way. And then we're just going to store it here in the Insight uh, folder. And once we create, once we get to the final Z file stage, um, and we create PDFs, we're going to store all of those in the Insight folder. And
Yep.
I'll show you what that looks like in June, which we have already printed. We've already created. I mean, we're done with June and it's been printed, but I go to the Insight folder for June and you see there they all are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're 171. So so
Wow.
uh, starts with page 1001 and goes all the way to the end.
You made all those PDFs.
Well, not individually. Yeah, I did make all of these PDFs, but for multi-page features, InDesign will do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
It will create individual PDFs for each page. And I showed you that on a video, but I don't know if that's one of the one. I don't know if that was the one that uh, got lost. But
I don't remember going over this on the video.
okay, okay. Well then,
No, we'll do that when we get to there. When you
okay,
do that, I could just make a little recording when you actually do it if you want.
okay. But as you
I've
see,
done it before though. I have done I just haven't I don't remember it, but I did it a while back where I did make individual PDFs in one doc from one document
Mhm.
but I just need a little refresh.
But you see, I have all of these PDFs for June, and I even have the revisions
Hmm.
where it says R1.
Yeah, I see
Uh,
those.
those are the revisions. So
Hmm.
I have the original file, and I also have the revision. And then when you get down to the very bottom of the list, that's where you see the covers: C1, C2, C3, C4. So when we make our PDFs for Insight, uh, they go into the Insight folder.
Hmm.
Uh, but I can show you quickly uh, how to make those. Okay, I can show you how to make a multi page, individual PDFs. You go to like Adobe presets, you go to the LSC preset, which is DSC export, and we would name this Porsche June 23. You don't have to put the pages on there when you do this.
Oh,
You just name it Porsche June 23 because this is from the June issue. But we would do July, JUL, for July when we get to this stage. And you don't need to put the page numbers on there. And you go to save. You make sure you're in the right preset, which you should be. And then it has a section called Create Separate PDF Files. And you click on that. And this is going to give you two-digit numerals. We're in digits. We're starting with 74. So
hmm.
we're in 2 digits, but we want 3 digits because we want everything to line up from 001 all the way to 152. I want them all to line up correctly.
Okay, yeah, I do remember you going over this now.
So you're going to put a 0
Hmm.
between the underline and the caret symbol, whatever that's called. You're going to put a 0 there. And
I think this was on one of the earlier videos.
you're going to put export, and see there it shows up on the desktop in a folder, and the progress circle is going in InDesign because it's creating all those PDFs,
Hmm.
and there they show them.
Okay.
Once the PDFs are created, you've got 10 separate PDFs, and they all have the correct nomenclature. Um,
The only thing I haven't done, could you go back to those settings where you named it again? I mean,
okay,
I want to show that caret thing and adding the digit. That's something I've never done before. So let's see
okay.
that.
So let's say you're ready. This is the final Z file. Uh, all the ads are in. All the images have been converted from RGB to CMYK. You've replaced, I should say, you've replaced the original RGBs with CMYKs, and you want to make those PDFs for Insight. So you go up to Adobe PDF preset. You could also go to export, which I like to do sometimes.
Hmm.
Uh, I go to export because um, it gives you a choice of saving it as uh, PDF or print or JPEG.
Hmm.
And sometimes I create JPEGs for daemon to promote on the PCA website. So I usually go this way.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. You can get out of this and you can just go to PDF presets, then go to the DSC export, which is the preset for our printer, LSC. And up here, this is the previous file name with the page range. But that's not how we want to create PDFs for Insight. Insight won't accept that nomenclature. They have a very rigid naming system. So we have to name it the way they want to do it. So we go up and we call it Portia June, Jun. You only get three letters of the month is all you get. And then if it were March, it would be MAR. If it were September, it would be SEP. So you get it. You only get three letters of the month
Mm-hmm.
because they have very rigid nomenclature, very rigid rules for Insight. Portia is the client name, and we use the word Portia instead of Panorama because it's shorter. That's the only reason. It's easier to type Portia. Well, I don't know. Portia is hard to spell for a lot of people, but you'll get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we just call it Portia instead of Panorama because it's shorter. I guess we could have called it Pano, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, but they seem to prefer it called Portia. And then JUN, and then 23 for the year. And you don't have to put the page numbers on unless you're creating individual PDFs. If you're creating a collection of individual PDFs that InDesign is going to create for you, then you don't need to put the numbers on there. That's all you need to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you click Save.
Okay, now this is the part that I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Now it's
When you
not,
do the suffix.
yeah, it is not going to create those separate PDF files unless you tell the software to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've got to come down here and you've got to click.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to click on that option. It's not going to be clicked by default. So you have to make that decision to create separate PDF files. And the way it is set up now, it's only going to create double-digit numbers. For instance, we start at 74. Well, if I left it the way it is now, it would be 74 or 75. It wouldn't be 074, 075, which is what I want. I want all of my numbers to be 3 digits. And so I want it to start with 001 and 002. And if I didn't do this and left it just like it is here, it would create files that are just 2 digits.
I guess I
And
wonder what those little things mean, the caret and the P means.
that is that's just a script talk.
Oh, that's right. That's what you answered me the very first time I saw.
Yeah,
That's right. Okay.
it's some kind of script talk. And InDesign has a script language built into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show you what it will look like. If I don't change that and I export, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so you see, it just made them 74, 75. And before, when I put that 0 in there,
Okay.
it made them like this.
Hmm.
Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
You know, I want triple digits because we end in a triple digit. We
Like,
end on page 152 or page 144 usually.
so
And
you
so,
add the 0 before the caret in
yeah,
this.
otherwise
Okay.
it's going to create it like this. It's just going to create, you know. And
Hmm.
sometimes when you're sometimes when you're creating a collection of individuals, you'll be close to maybe the article starts on page 95 and it ends on page 101.
Hmm.
Well, some of those are going to be in 2 digits and some are going to be in 3 digits.
Hmm.
So you may have to amend them if you have a situation like that. Uh, so I want it to look like this with 3 digits. And the way you do that is you you click on create separate PDF files, and then you insert a 0 between the underline and the caret symbol.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Thank you for going
And
with that.
yeah, but let's see. Let's see if I have one of those files. Okay, here's one. Starts on page 98. It starts on page 98, but it finishes up on page 101, which is 3 digits. So what do? uh, Here you're going to go to, let me get the Portia June 23. Then you go to you're in the right preset. So you come down here to create separate PDF files. So so you're going to have a variety of two-digit and 3 digit files. So I'm going to hit export. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to leave it the way it is. And I hit export. And it's building the files, the PDF files. Okay, so you see uh, these first two are digits and the last two are 3 digits.
Hmm.
I want everything in 3 digits. So this is a case where I'm going to have to manually put those in like this. I'm going to put a 0 in there. Okay. So
Hmm.
now they're all 3 digits. But
Okay.
I had to do it manually because we're starting at page 98 and we're finishing at 101.
Hmm.
This is the only way to do it. The program is, if you put a 0 in this case, then 100 and 101 would have an extra 0 in front of them. And you'd have to delete it.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is how you do it when you have a file that um, starts in 2 digits and ends in 3 digits. That's how you do it.
So you just leave it the way it is and then manually convert
Yeah,
it.
and manually come in there. And
Okay.
then also, sometimes you want to create individual pages, and you don't want InDesign to create a whole collection. Let's say if you're doing a correction on Insight, usually you only correct one page at a time on Insight. So how would you do that? How would you just create one page? Let's say we had a copy change here in this copy on
Mm-hmm.
page 98. Well, I don't want to make PDFs of the whole article because I'm only correcting one page.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? You do that by uh, going to the preset, and then up here, you're going to manually create a, the entire file name. You're going to call it Portia June 23, which is what you would normally call it, and let InDesign create all of the PDFs. But because you're creating a single individual PDF, you want to name it the final name. You're going to come up here with it, underline, and then you're going to call it 098. And for a revision, you have to call it RV, lowercase r, no, R1, revision 1. The other printer called it RV. These people just call it R1. And so that's how you name create a name for a revised page.
Mm.
And because it's page 98, it's only 2 digits. I add the 0 manually myself. And then I call it R1. And then I hit save. And you have to come over here and select the actual page, which is 98. Otherwise, it's going to output all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you want. You only want to make a PDF on one page, and that page is 98. And you're not going to come down here and select create separate PDF files. You're going to leave that unchecked. And it's only going to create one PDF. And so I'm going to click export. And there it is on my desktop.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like this. And it's just one PDF, and it's named correctly. And that can go up on Insight just the way it is. But on Insight, you need to delete the first page first. I mean the original page first, and then you're going to upload a revised page, which would be this one. So that's how that's done. That's how you create a single PDF page for
Okay.
Insight. But and you can you can do tests on it. You have the back issues now with the final OKs.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do a practice on some of these, and you could go to the preset for Insight and then name it correctly. And then if you wanted to practice with this creating separate PDF files, you can do that. And this is for uh, 2 digits, and you want 3 digits.
Mhm.
You know, you add
But
this.
isn't that the one that goes into the three? It
Yeah,
goes from two to
yeah,
three.
this one's going to go into the 3, so you don't want to do that. When you get to uh, files that start with 3 digits, like
Mhm.
100 to 152, when you get to that section of the magazine, you won't need to do this. You
Okay.
you won't need to insert that 0.
Mhm.
It's just for the first uh, from page 1 to page 99. You're going to be inserting that 0. But for the pages in the back, you won't need to do that.
Okay.
Okay? Any
Huh.
questions?
Not right now.
Okay.
Let me look at my notes because I've been writing questions down. Oh, I did have a question on those placeholders in the pages. When you say Richard puts them in, those gray placeholders.
Mhm.
And then when we place the ads, we use the frames, correct?
Yeah.
But
Uh,
aren't those placeholders on the non-print layer?
yes.
But
Well,
so you turn off the non-print.
only in the Mart. We do that only in the Mart.
Oh, you put that non-print only in the Mart?
Yeah, it's only in the Mart.
Okay.
And that's because we used to have a lot more, we used to have a lot more ads in the Mart. Uh, we used to have a lot more small fractional ads than we do now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also do it so that if Emma wants to print it out, she doesn't have to print out all of this gray stuff, you know,
Mm-hmm.
which uses up a lot of printer ink. So that was another reason that I did it.
Okay.
But
That was just one of the ads I.
yeah.
And when does Ilko do the ad swaps?
Oh, he does he can't do the ad swaps until he sees the ads on Insight.
Oh,
So it's not until he sees it when all of the when all of the ads go up on Insight.
so after the Z files are created
Yeah.
into PDFs. Now, do you correct the dummy?
What do you mean by correct it?
Um, oh, you never put in the ads like you don't put in permanent ads on the dummy, right? You just leave the penciled one from Ilko.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
On the dummy, I'll just pencil the ads in and uh, usually that's it. I don't usually um, I do. If he makes an ad swap,
Mm-hmm.
and he won't make an ad swap until he sees everything on Insight.
Right.
He looks at Insight in that gallery view,
Mm-hmm.
where you see the large thumbnails. Uh, that allows him to see the ad against the editorial. And he can also see ads that are nearby when he sees everything up on Insight. He can see it visually. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really see that on the dummy because it's just penciled in ads. You don't know what they look like visually. uh, but when he sees them on Insight, then he can, if he's got an advertiser in a feature that it doesn't belong, or if it's too close to another competitor, he might suggest that we swap the ad. And then that is when he makes the ad swaps.
Okay.
And then I would change that on the dummy. I would just cross it out and then write in the swapped space,
Okay.
swapped ad. That way I know what was originally on that page, and I know what we're moving there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so that if I refer to the dummy, then it's up to date. It matches Insight. So yes, I will make corrections on that dummy with the penciled in ads.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's a
do you
good.
keep the dummies
Yeah, I do. I keep all the dummies.
in a binder, or where do you keep them?
I have them in a folder.
Okay.
I actually have them in a stack on my. I have them in a stack on my desk, and
I
then
understand.
after the stack gets so big, you know, then
Yeah.
then I will move it into folders.
Okay.
And I file those away. And so far, I've never had to use these dummies, but I'm just reluctant to throw them out.
Right.
Uh, I don't know why I'm holding on to them.
I don't know, just security.
Well, I can send them to you. So,
Thanks. Along with the external hard drive and anything else you want to send.
so that way you would see what's done in the past.
Hmm.
So, and I
Okay.
guess that's why I keep them around to see what we did in the past.
Yeah, they're
Sometimes,
helpful.
sometimes it's easier just to search that folder of dummies than it is to go online, and
Oh yeah.
I can find things quickly that way.
Hmm.
If I want to know what month was the last month that we did a 160 page issue, I can quickly find that out
Yeah, leafing
going
through the dummies.
by going to these dummies.
Hmm.
I can also find that out on my computer, but I would have to uh, probably go folder to folder. I could also find out by going online to the PCA website. I could do it that way. It is much quicker just looking into a folder of dummies to find out, the last time we did a 160 page feature. It's
Okay, I do
easy.
have, I do have another question for you.
Yeah.
You were showing me some settings, and you said, "Oh, let's look at it in links. I like to see those nested folders."
Hmm.
The link is in too.
Yeah.
Can you tell me
Yeah.
what you mean by that?
Yeah. I can set that up. Um, the links panel is very the links panel is, well, this is not a good example. A good example would be something with ads in it. So let me go there. Let me show you something with ads in it.
Why is
Okay.
Market Dashboard set like that? Like ransom note?
Market dashboard.
Yeah. The file name is sent like with upper and lower case. It looks like a ransom note.
That is just Richard.
Oh, okay. Just was wondering.
That's funny. I guess Richard is being creative.
Okay.
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, you're right. He uses upper and lower case letters on that. That's just the way Richard cannot help being creative. You know,
Uh-huh.
even in the file names, he's going to be creative. So that's why. Uh, but okay, let's open the links panel. The links panel can be highly customized. And I have it to show the hierarchy of folders. Folders 0 folder 1, and folder 2. Why would I want to do that? It shows me where these linked files are located. Um, and that's why I keep track of them that way. Because the add files come from a variety of back issues. You know, here's one from February 23. Here's one from November 22nd. Here's one from December 22nd, and so on. And that just lets me keep track of where they're located.
Mhm.
I can also locate them by clicking on the link, and down here it will show me the file path. It will show me where those files are located on my hard drive down here in the file path. But reading long file paths is kind of tedious.
Mhm.
And by setting it up with uh, uh, nested folders, that tells me at a glance where that file is located. And the way you do that is you come up here to panel options, and you know, the links panel has all of these um, possibilities, endless customization. Uh,
I love seeing the scale. I never used that one before.
yeah, and see
Cool.
down here in the folder options, it shows folder 0,
Oh.
3, and I've got the first 3 clicked on. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. And then up here, it's going to show folder 0, 1, 2. That's about all that's going to be able to fit. You know, I can't fit any more up there. Uh,
So you actually place the ad into the InDesign document from the old issue. You
mhm.
don't drag it over
Yeah, I do drag it over. I do drag it over. But these folders just tell me where it's located. Um,
right now when you
yeah,
drag it over.
let's see. Let's say an advertiser wanted to make a change in that folder, and let's say it's something that we built and not furnished by the customer. By having those folders up there, that tells me exactly where that file is located. I don't have
Mhm.
to I don't have to search for it on the Finder. That tells me exactly where it's located, and if there is a working folder, a working files folder, it's going to be in that folder. So it just lets me know where these files come from at a glance. Does that make sense?
I guess I would have to do it myself to see what does that actually mean. I mean, like I don't get like folder one, folder two. What are those
Okay.
folders? I mean, how do they relate? Like click on an ad, maybe click
Okay.
on that ad and show me.
Yeah, they're nested. This one right here, which
Mm-hmm.
is this tristle that we're looking at right here on this first spread, is tristle. And it's telling me that that ad comes from February 23 furnished ads. It's in that folder. And that's when we first got it. That's when it first came from the advertiser, was in February 23. And we've been repeating it every month. Now it's June, but this tells me when we first got that file.
Mm.
It was in February 23. And the root folder, I mean, I yeah, I guess it would be the root folder. The last folder that it's in is in February 23 furnished ads. And then that folder is in the February 23.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then that February 23 folder is in the Pano 23.
Okay, thank you for going over that. Now I
Yeah.
understand.
So if I wanted to find that folder, I would have to go, if I wanted to find that ad, I would go to Pano 23. It would be like this. Let's see. I would go to Pano 23, and then I would go to February 23,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would go to February 23 furnished ads. And let's see. There it is right there, TSC,
Mm-hmm.
TSC Panorama,
Okay.
which is Tristle, means Tristle Sports Cars, Tristle Sports Cars. That is the original ad that came to us.
Okay.
Uh, and so it's just so much easier than trying to search,
Oh yeah, that's
uh,
great.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm only going to have, let's see, I'm only going to, I'm only going to have, I have folders arranged by year. As you can see here, I have 2017 all the way to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I really only need 3 folders. That's the reason why I have 0, 1, 2 folders in that links panel. I need to know the year. I need to know the month, February 23. And then I need to know that it's in the February 23 furnished ads folder. And there it is right there.
Sounds good.
So, and I just, uh, I started doing this decades ago. And I don't even know why I started, but
Good idea.
it always lets me know
Mm-hmm.
where something is at all times. Uh,
Okay. I'm looking to see if I have any more questions quickly.
and that's mostly useful for ads.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it being of much use for editorial, for features. That's the reason why I chose a file that had a lot of ads in it.
Mm-hmm.
I do that mostly to keep up with where those ads are.
Okay.
And it also lets me know that I'm using the right ad, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, sounds good.
that's why I did that.
I don't
Okay.
have, I have all my questions starred at the top of the page of my notes. Like, ask Ellen. I don't think I have any more.
Okay.
So, so
Well,
far, so good.
yeah, I don't think I have anything. We went over the cover, making that cover PDF. Um, and you confirm that you got everything unzipped and
Yep.
everything brought under control with the iCloud problem.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so far, I gotta
yeah,
still,
and I showed you color settings in Photoshop, how to
right.
set those up. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that's it.
That's a good one.
There's so many pesky little details.
Yeah, we'll probably, we
Yeah,
probably might do one more of these. I
yeah,
mean, you never know.
yeah, and I think that well, if you can go through, just run through the videos, and if there's whatever was in that video that's missing, um, we ought to be able to figure out what I didn't go over.
I think it was the color settings was one. So you went over that today.
Okay.
And then I'll look on my notes and see if I can see what else was in there. But like I said, I didn't, for some reason, I didn't take notes on that because I
Yeah.
said, well, they'll be in the video.
Yeah. And I know that everybody else on the staff is wondering, why it takes so long to train, but they don't really understand the amount of details.
Do you think they're wondering what's taking so long?
Yeah, I think they are.
Did they mention it to you?
No, they haven't mentioned it to me, but
I've been thinking the same thing.
I know when Amy left and Jeff uh, took her job, she only trained him for a few weeks, really a
Oh,
month. She
okay.
she only trained him for the month of January, I think,
Hmm.
and then she was gone.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but she her job does not have all these details. You know, working with the printer, working with the color correctors, um, all that stuff. Working with the advertisers and working with Ilco, they don't have to do any of that. So
I know. I was wondering about if we should talk to somebody and tell them what's going on or, mention it because it is taking a while. I mean,
yeah, but I think we're doing it the right way.
I do too because
I,
it's making sense.
I wouldn't want to do it any other way. It's just too much to try to push on somebody in just 1 month. There's no way. You need to
Well,
have an overview, and then you need to work side by side uh,
mhm.
with the person to get experience and to have somebody check your work. And you have the time to ask questions, of every little detail. And you don't get that if somebody just gives you a quick tour and they leave.
I was trying to imagine what this would be like if we were working in person,
Yeah.
and it would be impossible. This is actually better,
Yeah.
because I can understand, you know, I know Rob kind of, I don't know, I felt like he was looking side-eyed at us
Yeah.
last meeting because of, us sort of saying the same thing we've been saying for 3 weeks
I
about the
know.
training,
I
but
know.
it's like, what are you going to do? It's hard to describe too. It's hard to explain to someone that doesn't know,
I know.
you
They don't
know?
they don't have a clue. But
Believe me, when I first talked to them about the job, I thought, oh, they don't understand production.
but it's true that I don't have a clue what they do. So it goes both ways. I mean, they deal with those with the writers and the photographers and all the billing and all of the setting up of the photo shoots and working with those contributors. There's a lot involved in that that I don't know anything about. So
Well,
they
the thing with our job too, though, is that we have the technology that's always updating.
yes, yes.
So that's like a trying to catch
Yeah.
something you can never catch because
You our job relies a lot more on technology than theirs.
mhm.
Theirs doesn't change that much. I mean, they do have to update their software, but they're not moving from printer to printer and learning all new systems at the new printer. They don't have to deal with any of that.
And troubleshoot problem like you were working with Richard about Google Docs, and
Yeah,
it's like how many different software programs, how much
I
technology
know,
do
I know. And I just became the default IT manager. I don't know why.
That's
It fell in my lap.
yeah.
And I
So
just, you have that, you know how to troubleshoot. I mean, you've shown me that you know how to, use that deductive reasoning to try to figure out how to solve a problem. And they just don't have that. The first thing I would have done with Richard's problem is I would have tried it with a new browser, with a different browser.
right.
He went through that for weeks without testing. That's the first thing you do.
Yeah.
And you know that. You would have done that too.
Well, I was trained by a web teacher instructor who said she used to say to her students, "Well, can I Google that for you?"
Yeah,
that's kind of the smart alecky thing she used to
I
say to her
know.
students, and I thought that was kind of rude at first. I didn't think that was very helpful, but it's actually true.
Well,
You
you
just
see,
have to Google everything and trusted sources and
yeah.
do what they say.
Well, you know to do that. And you know, I Google that thing about the iCloud and got that video. But
That was great.
you would have done that eventually. You would have done that eventually. And I was
Right.
trying to help out. I was trying to find something quickly while you were working on that problem. But I know that you would have eventually have Googled that question about iCloud, and that Google, I solved so many problems just by Googling.
My
And
husband's a big Googler.
you
He
have
goes,
to,
use the
you have to do
Googles,
that. Yep.
use the Google for household stuff too, you know.
Oh yeah, I do too. For
You know.
fixing cars, fixing
Yeah.
refrigerators, fixing whatever.
Because my neighbor, I mean, Steve's very, very handy, very fix it, very, you know. But my neighbor came over and she asked him, she goes, Peggy, all I do is use the Google. You know, he says it kind of sarcastically, use the Googles. But, you know, he says, I just Google everything, you know. So he Googles everything. But anyways, yes. I mean, I know I've been thinking about that. I'm feeling kind of guilty because your job, first of all, you've been in the job for 50 or 48 years, however many years it is.
48.
That is, first of all, a unique thing. I mean, how many people do you know have been at one job for 48 years?
Well, it's been one job, but it has changed so much over the decades.
Uh-huh.
And when I started in the mid 70s, uh, I had the panorama was a lot smaller, and I had other publications. Uh, when I first started on the panorama, it was like 40 pages in the 40s,
Uh-huh.
and it was saddle stitched. It wasn't perfect bound, and it was only two colors, black and a PMS color.
Oh,
No,
wow.
no four color back then. They
Mm-hmm.
were they were horribly cheap. They had a very tight budget, wouldn't spend any money on anything, and yet it was Porsche Club of America, and but they changed. They realized that if they improved the design of it and improved the printing of it, glossy covers and a spine and everything, that it would attract better advertising. And boy,
Mm-hmm.
did it. I mean,
Yeah.
the advertising, a panorama's advertising is the envy of most magazines. I mean, you look at these newsstand magazines today, and sometimes they have almost no advertising.
Right.
It's so thin, and a lot of it's just filler.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the advertising is actually, editorials,
Mm-hmm.
you know, advertorials, I guess you would call them. And so the panorama is lucky that it has the advertising volume that it has and that it's stable. Uh, but the magazine has changed over the years, and my job has changed a lot over the years. I used to do a lot of other publications, and then once the panorama, I guess in the by the mid 80s, the panorama became so large and so complex that it became uh, my only job.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do those other publications.
Mm-hmm.
I had to give them to someone else and devote, most of my time to panorama. So it's true that I've worked on it for 48 years, but in the early years, it was smaller and less complicated, and I was working on a lot of other uh, publishing jobs. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not really 48 years of working the same type of magazine.
Right. But I mean, I'm sure the piano, much of its success is based on your being there because you're like the shepherd who's shepherded through so many different
Well,
stages.
I guess I don't know, but it also has a lot to do with the editor that I worked with for 37 years. Her name is Betty Jo Turner, and
Huh.
she lives here in Atlanta. And she did it for 37 years, and she retired at the age of 70 about 10 years ago. Yeah, yeah, 10 years ago. Uh,
Wow.
and so she left in 2012.
I think I saw a picture of her in
Yeah, you
something.
probably have. You probably have. But she had the biggest, really the biggest impact on the magazine. She was the one who uh, handled the growth of the magazine, and uh, I kind of acted as the the printing salesman on the job back in the 80s. I would give her comps or treatments showing her what the magazine would look like with UV coated covers and with a perfect bound spine and what
Hmm.
it would cost. I would get the estimates together. I negotiated the contract with the printer every year. So I acted as the printing salesperson. Uh,
Hmm.
and she was able to take my materials to the executive council and show them what the possibilities were if they spent more money. This is
Hmm.
what this is what they would get. And she's the one who I presented her with the idea of doing the digital editions and showed her what the possibilities were. And she got the funding for that. So she and I really worked as a team for 37 years. And
Hmm.
so I cannot accept, all the credit. It really was a partnership. It was a team of
Wow.
people who helped the magazine grow. And
What a fun experience, though. I mean, that you've
yeah,
seen it
yeah.
grow for so long.
And I stayed with it because I loved the work. I loved the flexibility of my schedule, and
Hmm.
I liked the people that I worked with. That makes a huge difference. And and so I stayed with it. I had no reason to want to do anything else. And it does change, month to month, year to year. It's not exactly the same. So I stayed with it, and I realized that it's a rare opportunity we all have. Um, so I stuck with it. I didn't think I was going to be here for 48 years.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That's pretty fun.
and
It's a great thing. And I'm lucky to learn from you.
yeah,
But back to our problem with the team, do you think we should communicate back to them about what's happening, or is it impossible to communicate?
no, I think we can tell them, that there are just so many facets of the production, and you know,
I don't know. I was trying to think of how I could communicate it from my perspective.
yeah,
Um, it just seems like there are dimensions to every aspect of the job that I don't know, I haven't seen before. I mean, I've made PDFs and I've loaded them on Insight. I've made dummies before, but they're not as, this is a kind of a specialized way to make the dummy, in that you let the editorial, you sort of fill in the editorial first, and then, the ads come in, and then you do that at the last minute. So that's a little bit different, but I don't know. It just seems like a very different process.
mhm.
So I don't know. I have to
and,
think about why is it different, but it's complicated. It's a complicated job. You
and
know,
once you get going with it, my advice is to follow my system first. But once you have, a control over it and you understand it, you can certainly make changes yourself. If you see areas that can be improved, you can certainly try something different.
no, I agree with you. I think I should do it your way for a while, like 6 months or something before I won't be able to understand. And even like the 3 month date, you're projecting you're going to end at the end of July.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a little concerned about that, but I think we can do it.
Well, if I need to do another month, we can. I just decided that 2 months would probably be enough. But I told Rob that I don't know how much time it's going to take.
Hmm.
I said, that's just my estimate. And I'm not going to leave until Marge is comfortable. So he knows that.
What,
And
is he good with that or?
yeah, he was fine with that. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Because when they told me that at the interview that it would be whenever, I felt comfortable, but I didn't know it was only a month that Jeff worked with the previous editor.
yeah.
But it hasn't been a month with us yet. I mean, my official start date was May 15th. I know we did some preliminary training, but my official start date was May 15th.
Yeah, I think we've accomplished a lot in that 1 month.
Oh yeah.
And your
Yeah.
suggestion to do the videos, I think was brilliant. I wish that I had come up with that suggestion because
Oh,
it's really a great idea. But
well, it's
I have never recorded videos on
is it fun to watch them?
yeah, on Skype or on Zoom. And I've always had that ability, but I never had any reason to use it until now. So I'm glad you're teaching me a lot of things. So you bring a
Well,
lot, each person brings something, something new. And I have learned from all the people, you know, uh, that I have encountered along the way. And I've tried to adapt the best of what they have, into my skill set. And so I learn from other people and try to pass on, what I think is good that I have learned from all the people that went before me.
the team is fun. I mean, I think it's a
Yeah,
fun team. They seem really fun.
yeah, and they are. And I've worked, except for Jeff, I've worked with the rest of them for 10 years.
Really?
Uh, Richard, uh, Richard, Emma, Doug, and Ilko are all celebrating their 10th anniversary this summer.
Wow.
Panorama. Uh,
Richard's been there for 10 years.
yes, Ilko was the first to come on board. So he came on in the winter, and then Emma came on, I think, in the spring, and then Richard came on in the summer. Uh, so they have been around for 10 years. And I've traveled with them and gotten to know them. And they're all great people. I mean, um, they were hired, all of them were hired by Pete Stout, who
Hmm.
was the editor before Rob. And so he hired all of these people, and he was very good at assessing people. And
Yeah,
he,
that says a lot about somebody to put together a good team like
yeah,
that. It's a good team. I just feel very comfortable with
yeah,
everyone. So,
each person is the best person for their job. And so, we're lucky. We're just very lucky.
oh, that's great. Well, okay. So I just wanted to, yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for saying that, telling me the lowdown about you think that we should step on it, but we can't really step on it.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing the best we can.
I know we've got maybe a month and a half uh, if I'm going to leave at the end of July. And we'll see, at the end of July, we'll know after you've been through 2 full production months, with you doing some of the work, we will know where you need to improve and what you've got down pat, and you don't need any.
Mhm.
We'll know. We'll be able to evaluate. You'll
Yeah.
be able to evaluate yourself what you feel comfortable with and what you don't feel comfortable with, and we'll fix it. We'll work on it.
I think the
Uh,
dummy's going to be fun doing the
yeah,
dummy.
the hard part is the schedule. The hard part is the speed at which everything takes place.
Yeah. And the different tasks are very different
If
within
we
that
had
schedule.
if we had an insight approval date, that was later in the month, that would make things so much better.
Hmm.
Seems like every time they have moved printers, the 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 insight date gets moved up in the month, and
Hmm.
that's because of co-mailing.
Hmm.
I'm not sure that the money that they're saving by co-mailing is really worth the wear and tear that it puts on us on the
Hmm.
staff.
How much savings do they realize?
I think I know that it's more than $5,000 a month. I think it's between $5,000 and $8,000 per month.
Hmm.
And they consider that significant. And so they don't want to go to direct mailing where you just mail the issue by itself. They want co-mailing. So that
Hmm.
co-mailing is what pushes that insight date up where it is.
Hmm.
And it seems like it's getting worse, like they keep moving it up.
Hmm.
And that gives the printer more time, and it robs us of our time in the month in the production schedule.
Right. Well, okay, I'll get working on that color then.
Okay, if you work on Backstory and Cayenne Camparo, uh, those two, I'll look at them on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay, and
Yes.
have a nice weekend.
You too.
Hopefully,
Watch the, is it the Tonys? Do you ever watch the award shows?
I do watch the Tonys. Yeah, yeah.
My brother is an actor and
Oh, he is.
he's in a play that's up for a bunch of Tonys. In,
No,
Into the
no.
Woods. Into the Woods.
Into the Woods?
Yes. Have you read about that?
Yeah, no, I know the play, the Stephen Sondheim play.
Yes. Yes. He's plays
He
the
is in that?
mysterious man. He plays the mysterious man in
Oh,
it, the narrator. And he's been in the New York Times. They said it was brilliant that they cast him. He's a
what's
character actor. He's in
what's
movies and plays.
what's his name?
David Patrick Kelly. Yeah, you can look him up at IMDb.
Okay, yeah, I will. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a big Broadway fan, and so I do follow the Tonys and all the plays.
Did you see Once on Broadway? He was in Once too. He played Da.
No,
He's a musician. He's a card carrying musician and he's an actor. He's in SAG and
that
what's the
is a
other one? He's in all the, the unions.
Screen Actors Guild, and the other one, the one for the stage performers,
right.
Actors Equity, or
Yeah, he's in Actors Equities in SAG and he's got his musician's card.
uh,
So he's
oh,
a card
terrific.
carrying actor. And so we're all going to be watching, hoping that Into the Woods won because they won a Grammy for their album for the show.
Great.
And he won Grammys too I mean, not him individually, but the cast won for um once too. Once
Well,
was the show.
I find that the Tony Awards so much more entertaining than the Oscars or the Grammys. It is the most creative. It is the best produced. Even if I don't know the plays, I learn a lot about them
Uh-huh.
by watching the awards. But it's the best produced of those award shows.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be there because he's touring with the play right now.
Yeah.
He's in Orlando, but he gets to go sometimes
Oh,
and
he's
fun.
touring the U.S.
Yeah, he's touring. Pardon me?
He's touring the U.S.
Yeah, they're
play.
touring. They went to a bunch of different cities. He's been in Chicago, Nashville. Now he's in Orlando, and he's gonna go out west. So all our friends can see him in the different cities that he goes to. So it's kind of fun.
I've been to New York for a week, going to Broadway plays, a different Broadway play every night.
Oh,
That's how much I like Broadway.
which ones have you seen?
Well, I haven't seen, this is years ago that I went. I haven't seen anything recently, but
Oh,
I do have a friend that goes recently, uh, and once I retire, he wants to do he wants to do a cruise to Iceland and Greenland that leaves from New York. That it starts in New York, but he wants to spend a week in New York going to Broadway plays and
That'll be fun.
then doing the cruise. So I might take him up on that. I don't know.
I want to see the one Lin Manuel has
Oh yeah.
written. I wanted to see that one.
You mean,
The last one I saw was Into the Woods, his play in New York in last year in July. We went for Into the Woods. That was really fun.
yeah,
But my favorite was Once so far.
yeah,
It's an
yeah,
Irish play,
yeah.
and he played the dad. It was really cool. The music is wonderful.
Yeah.
Music is wonderful for that play.
Well, there's nothing like live theater, and those theaters in New York are small, so you really get to enjoy the performance. You're not sitting like in a stadium,
Right,
a big
right.
I like the intimacy of the smaller theaters in New York, although they do have some big ones too. They do have some big theaters, but
Hmm.
most of them are small and intimate. And yeah, I loved it. I loved going there, seeing. I saw a lot of. I saw Side by Side by Sondheim, and I saw Equus, and this was way back in the
He was
'70s.
in Equus.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh,
Maybe you saw him. I don't know what his part was. I don't remember.
yeah. Wow. Well,
He drove a Porsche in one of his movies too. He was in Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He plays a bad guy, and he's
uh,
driving a yellow Porsche. He's he's chasing somebody in the
did he
movie.
did he major in theater when he
Yes,
was
he did. Yeah, he got it. He had a scholarship, and he went to University of Detroit, and he got a scholarship there, and then he got his break in New York. Actually in Detroit.
Mhm.
He was the lead in Hair when it first opened.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, he's probably done Chicago theater since he's so close by.
Yeah, he did Working in Chicago.
Yeah.
He played Working. My mother and I went to see it in a snowstorm on the train. We got stuck. The snow is so deep, it got stuck in Chicago. And my aunt was with us too, and there was a bunch of college kids, and they got my aunt drunk. They said, "You want some vodka and orange juice?" And she kept on drinking it. But that was a fun story.
Well,
But
I'm going to look him up,
yeah,
and
look him up.
I'll be sure and watch the Tonys, even if
Tell me if you
even if
think he
he's
looks
not going
like
to be
him.
there. I'm going to watch it anyway. I'm glad
Yeah.
you reminded me.
Okay.
Okay.
Great
Well,
weekend, and we'll
have a
see
nice
you
weekend.
next week.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, thanks.